Thank you, Chairwoman. Over here. Thanks for being here today. I'd like to first start off by saying I've talked to a number of people in my district. We have industry, we have agriculture, who appreciate the EPA's new tone, if I can say that, in the sense of understanding that the people working in these industries and districts are also living in them and care very much about an environment, and then having an EPA that works with them as a way to try to find a way to yes, as opposed to looking for a reason to say no, keeping in mind all the important necessary cause to ensure our environment is protected. In light of that, I am encouraged by the fact that the proposed budget was actually less than what we've spent in the past. There's a tendency up here to define success by how much money we're spending on something as opposed to the actual outcomes of proposals or projects or legislation. Could you speak to some of the decision-making process that went into proposing a budget that came under cost of last year, and how you balanced those priorities of making sure that the EPA is doing its job and that we're spending our money wisely in light of a $22 trillion debt?
Absolutely. For the most part, the programs that we recommended to be reduced or eliminated were voluntary programs at the agency and not critical to the statutory authorities that we have. In other words, programs that had grown over time at the agency but were not authorized by Congress. We still put forward some new proposals for new funding. The new EPA Act that passed Congress last year, but Congress did not fund for 2019. We did request funding for that. We believe it's a very important program to address some of the water quality issues, in particular for small and rural water systems and medium-sized systems around the country. So we did ask for additional funding for that. We also asked for $50 million for a children's health program for safe schools. We have a lot of different programs at the agency that address different aspects of environmental issues at schools. But they're kind of disjointed, and what we want to do is bring those all into one program. And we ask for $50 million so that we can go out and work with the states and local governments to do site-specific recommendations on how schools can become healthier for the children who go to school in those buildings. There are different issues with a number of schools around the country, and we want to make sure that the children have a healthy education.
Following up on that a bit, earlier this year, you proposed the EPA developing rules that require cost-benefit analysis of new EPA regulations, again with the understanding that we have a responsibility to manage the resources both of creation and of the taxpayer dollar. Could you speak to any progress being made on that rule?
Certainly. We put that out, I believe it was last year, for notice and comment. We received over 3,000 comments. I was actually surprised. I thought we would get as many for the science transparency rule, but for the science transparency, we received over 600,000 comments. For the cost benefit, only 3,000. What we proposed, though, was one regulation to apply to all of EPA's regulations for cost benefit. What we have decided to do in reviewing the comments, and again, both for science transparency and this, we took a hard look at the comments that we received from the different people commenting, and we decided instead of one regulation to try to mandate cost-benefit analysis across all of our statutory programs, we're going to go statute by statute instead and issue a regulation under each of our statutes. The first one will be under the Clean Air Act. We hope to have that proposal out by the end of this year, but it will require cost-benefit analysis for all Clean Air Act regulations going forward, and then we will systematically go through each of our statutes and do an individual cost-benefit requirement for each statute, tailor-made for the statutory authorities under each of the statutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.